Good evening, Jan John here. A parasite is an organism which lives off another organism without giving anything back in return. A good example is the mosquito, which lives by sucking the blood of other creatures without showing any gratitude. You know mosquitoes, those annoying little insects which buzz around our heads while we are trying to sleep, or if we are sitting outside at dusk, they will be nipping at our ankles. The parasite in the picture is a baby cuckoo bird. Believe it or not, the baby is the big bird, the one on the left, and the bird on the right trying to shove food down the baby's throat. Shove food, S-H-O-V-E, is a unwitting surrogate mother. What that means is she is not the real mother and has been tricked into thinking that this is her baby. Although some people might wonder why she doesn't wonder about how her baby is so big. It's quite unusual for a baby to be 4 or 5 times the size of the mother at birth. So if you don't know the story about cuckoos, let me explain to you. The cuckoo is a very cunning bird. It has a very clever strategy to get other birds to look after its offspring, thus enabling it to produce even more babies, because the mother cuckoo doesn't have to look after them. So how does this cunning bird achieve this? Firstly, over thousands of years, the cuckoo has developed the skill of being able to copy the eggs of other birds, other species, so that the cuckoo's egg looks exactly the same as the host species. The cuckoo will hang around the area where there are a lot of nests of the host species and wait for an opportunity to lay her egg in one of these nests. She only needs around 10 seconds to both lay her egg and to eject one of the genuine eggs from the nest. So, like a trained spy, she will spend a great deal of time observing the other birds, seeing when they leave the nest, how long they are away, and coordinating this with her moment of giving birth, and quickly, in the blink of an eye, she will fly to the nest, lay her egg, and throw out one of the mother's real eggs. The surrogate mother comes back to the nest but doesn't realize that the intruder is not one of her own eggs. So she will then look after the chick which emerges from this egg and look after him or her as if it was her own baby, despite the fact that it may not look anything like her own species. This shows the limitation of birds' intelligence, that they cannot use their imagination and realize that this cannot be her baby. Could this happen with human beings? It could happen if the replacement baby was a human baby. If, for example, you were able to get into a hospital room and quickly switch babies, it may well be that the mother may not recognize the intruder because, to be honest, babies often look very similar at birth. However, replacing her baby with an animal of a different species, such as a gorilla's baby, for example, would certainly raise her eyebrows. I guess human beings are smarter than birds. Do we have any analogies in the human world for this parasitic situation? Maybe. What about children? A baby will live in her mother's womb for 9 months, taking nourishment from the mother but giving nothing back in return, and after birth the mother and father will have to look after this child for something like 20 years without the child giving anything significant back in return. So I think there is a similarity here. Parents may hope, of course, that children in later life will take care of the parents, but that is by no means guaranteed. So for many parents, looking after children is a one-way street. One-way street meaning the gifts go only one way from the parents to the children. Some parents may, of course, say that in return they get unconditional love from their kids, but that, I think, is a discussion for another time. There are many other situations in human society where people can be accused of being parasites if, for example, they do not try to support themselves but rely upon other people or the state for finance and satisfaction of their needs. So in Western countries, for example, where we have very comprehensive welfare systems, many people do not work but receive financial assistance from the government for many, many years and seem to contribute nothing to society. So the word parasite may be appropriate here, but a word of warning: parasite is a very strong word to use to insult someone. Here's an essay question. In the past, children would often work and help their family in many ways. For example, they may help around the house, they may help in farming, they may sell products produced by the family if they have their own business, or they may even beg on the streets. But nowadays we expect that children will not usually work until they leave school or university at the age of 20 or so. Do you think children should do some kind of work? First paragraph. In poor countries, children do still work out of necessity because the mother and father cannot make enough money to support the whole family. So even at an early age, kids will be doing stuff, either helping in the family business, which might be farming, for example, or begging on the streets, or even helping to make some kind of handicraft which can be sold. Even in Western countries, it wasn't long ago, maybe only 100 years or so, when it was quite common to see children working at an early age even in places like factories or mines, M-I-N-E-S. Second paragraph, I'm going to support children doing some kind of work. I think the current model used widely in the Western world has many disadvantages. Children will be professional students until around the age of 20. Then they will be suddenly and without preparation thrown into the world of work. This can be a terrible shock for them, as the skills required in employment are quite different to the skills used in academic learning. So if kids develop some skills while they are still young, this can be very helpful to them in later life. They may, for example, learn about basic repair procedures and the simple tasks involved in a business, such as talking with customers and organizing the products. These tasks should not take so much time that it would interfere with their education, and may in fact supplement their education in ways which cannot be gained from textbooks. Furthermore, children will begin to learn from an early age about how to deal with problems associated with work and how to appreciate the value of time and money. Having to work teaches us many important things about life, such as how to keep going when we are tired, how to solve problems, how difficult it can be to make money, and the skills needed to deal with other people. So the earlier children can begin to learn these skills, the better it will be for them later in life. Third paragraph, let's say something in support of education only during childhood. On the other hand, we should not interfere too much with the happiness a child can enjoy during their developing years. This is a special time, and we don't want to burden children too much with work so that childhood comes and goes without really knowing it. Childhood may be the happiest time of our lives, and we should not forget that. Furthermore, there is often exploitation of children, and we should be wary of children used in work situations which is not helpful for them, but only lining the pockets of people who want to abuse them and take advantage of them. Final paragraph, conclusion. In conclusion, while I think there are many benefits of children getting involved in work at an early age, we do need to be careful that it is to the child's advantage and not some kind of exploitation. That's the end of the essay. Did you do any kind of work while you were a kid? I did many different things. I used to deliver papers, I remember, in the mornings before I went to school. On Saturdays and Sundays I sometimes worked in a shop. I worked on a farm sometimes during the summer, picking fruits and vegetables. I must say I enjoyed these opportunities because I was able to supplement my pocket money, which was never enough, though I can't really say I learned much in the way of skills. Good night, everybody.